Christians still can't break this verse down. Shalom, this is the brother Bud. You're back here once again. Before I get started, like always, I want to give all praises and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Rachahakwadash. Double honors to my teachers, the elder apostles of Great Millstone, and shalom to the hopeful elect. Yeah, man, before I get into this lesson, these Christians, you got vocab talking about how to spot an Israelite, making these weird ass videos. We're not on the hot seat. All right, you Christians and you Catholics and you Mormons and you Baptists, whatever branch of Christianity or Catholicism you believe upon, y'all are on the hot seat. All right, vocab, you're on the hot seat. Christianity as a whole is on the hot seat. Catholicism as a whole is on the hot seat. These fake ass pastors and these mega million churches and all these churches on all these street corners you see throughout your neighborhoods, they on the hot seat. All right, this government of America and governments throughout the world for setting up Christianity and teaching the Bible wrongly is on the hot seat. We ain't on the hot seat. Y'all have questions to answer. We put up videos upon videos upon videos breaking down the truth the correct way, and y'all don't answer no questions that's proposed to y'all, man. You totally are off. You're wrong. And like I said in the beginning of this, you can't break this verse down. You still can't break this verse down. At least properly anyway. So let's go, we're in Galatians, the 3rd chapter. Let's start at verse 15. All right. Brethren, I speak after the manner of men, though it be but a man's covenant, yet if it be confirmed, no man disannulleth or addeth thereunto. All right. So Christianity, I'm sure you're familiar with this passage. This is talking about the promise, the covenant given to Abraham, all right, and his seed. You cannot disannul it, right? Let's get that word. Matter of fact, we might as well just go ahead and get that word, disannul. All right, you got the word disannul, to do away with, to set aside, disregard, right? To reject, to refuse. So you can't get rid of it. You can't get rid of the covenant that we're talking about. All right, that's what that word disannulleth mean. If you weren't familiar with it, let's go back. And it said addeth thereunto. You can't add unto. You can't add shit unto this covenant. Why am I stressing that? Because you Christians are trying to add to this covenant. You keep trying to add heathen nations. What do I mean by heathen nations? Japhites, Moabites, Ammonites through your father's lineage, Ishmaelites, Hamites, Edomites. Right, that's why I made a lesson a while back saying, look, if y'all gonna say all nations can make it, show me book, chapter, verse that is nation specific, because we can find all throughout the Bible. To Israel was granted to this. To the children of Israel, this was given to. To the seed of Israel, this was given to. To the 12 tribes, this was given to. It's nation specific. It's even tribe specific. Where is the scriptures that say to Edom was given the covenant of of the kingdom of heaven? To Moab was given the covenant, the promises of the kingdom of heaven. Now you're not going to see that. You're going to see terms like gentile. All right. You're going to see terms like stranger, right? Which those are just terms and titles. Those are not nationality. Anybody can be a gentile. All right. A gentile is not a nationality. It's a term. It's a label put on somebody. All right. Now it mainly applies to the heathen nations, the natural heathen nations like Moabites, Ammonites, and so forth and so on, because they were never given that covenant, that law. So it was always implied into them. But once the nation of Israel went off and started adopting those heathenistic customs, they too became as Gentiles, just like they can become strangers. But this is where y'all start at and y'all get confused. In the 14th verse, Galatians chapter 3 verse 14, that the blessing of Abraham might come on the Gentiles through Yahweh HaMashiach, that we might receive the promise of spirit through faith. See, y'all say, that the blessing of Abraham might come on the Gentiles. Those Gentiles are not talking about you heathens, man. It's not talking about you natural heathens, man. All right, because even Israelites can become, can be known as heathens, right? Once again, that those are not nations. Like, you're not going to read in the scriptures, oh, the Israelites went and warred against the nation of heathen, or against the nation of gentile. Went to war against the land of gentile, the land of no. It's you got to be nation specific, right? Vocab, be nation specific. All right, you can't just use terms and titles and apply it to just one people. All right, that's why we deal with nationality. But all right, they'll go here and say, oh, this has to be talking about all the nations, right? Let's go to, for one, let's go to the Abrahamic curse. Matter of fact, let's finish off this Galatians, and then we'll go to the actual Abrahamic curse. Let's read verse 16 now. Galatians chapter 3, verse 16. Now to Abraham and his seed were the promises made. He saith not, and to the seeds as of many, but as of one, and to thy seed, which is Yahushua HaMashiach. And this I say, that the covenant that was confirmed before Yahweh and Yahushua HaMashiach, the law, which was 430 years after, cannot disannul that it should be made the promise of none effect. So what is that talking about? It just told you who those Gentiles are, right? It clearly just told you who those Gentiles are. Right here where it says the law, which was 430 years after, cannot disannul. You can't disannul the covenant that was given to Israel at Mount Sinai, because what does that 430 years represent? Let's go ahead and get that in Exodus the 12th chapter. Exodus the 12th chapter. And let's go down to verse 40. It says, now the sojourning of the children of Israel who dwelt in Egypt was 430 years, right? And it came to pass at the end of the 430 years, even the self same day, it came to pass that all the hosts of the Lord went out from the land of Egypt. What did the Lord tell Abraham? We're gonna get that in Genesis, but yeah, we're gonna get that. What is that at? What is that at in Genesis? Genesis the 15th chapter. Because he told Abraham, your seed, right, will be let's just get it. So the sojourning of the children of Israel was 430 years. Yep, this is Genesis chapter 15. Let's read verse 13. And he said unto Abram, know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. And also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and afterward shall they come out with great substance. Right? Who is that talking about? The children of Israel, man. Okay? Let's drop down to verse 18. In the same day, the Lord made a covenant with Abraham. Right? So that this word stranger, that's why I said the sojourning of the children of Israel was 430 years, because they were going to be strangers in the land that's not theirs. That's what the word sojourner means. It means a stranger. All right, you're dwelling in you're dwelling in a land that's not yours. You're a foreigner. All right, Israelites can be foreigners. Israelites can be strangers. Israelites can be. Let's go back to Galatians. Israelites can be Gentiles. Right? Like I said, this is talking about the Abrahamic covenant, but it tells you who is for, what you cannot disannul. All right, when you go into a covenant, it's an agreement, all right, between two parties. I used this analogy at camp this past week. If there's a meeting at a business or office somewhere, right? Let's just picture it. It's a 100-story building. And we at the top in the office, and it's me and another individual, all right, and we come to an agreement, all right, and we set forth we set forth a type of contract with stipulations and promises, that we both have to upkeep or uphold, and let's say one of the other guys, like the CEO of the company, and I'm like inheriting, he decided to give the company to me once he's gone, and he says in this contract, right, in this agreement, in this binding, because that's what a covenant is. It's a binding between two parties, a relationship between two parties, binding one another. Just like if you get in a marriage, it's a covenant. You're binding together, right? The scriptures tell you when a man and a woman get together, they become one flesh. So let's say the CEO of the company says, look, when I pass away, I'm going to give the company to you and your children after you and their children after you. All right, throughout all your generations, this company will be yours. All right, if you uphold this, if you do this, if you do the things that I asked for you to do, you're going to receive all this. All right, and your children are going to receive it after you. But let's go 500 years later down the line. You get a whole nother nigga that wasn't at the office, that wasn't at the meeting. All right, you get a crowd of other people coming and saying, hey, we want to take part in ownership of this company too. All right. You weren't at the fucking meeting. You weren't at that meeting we had to establish this covenant, this binding, this agreement. Same thing at Mount Sinai when the law was being issued, man. Right? Let's go to the actual covenant in Genesis chapter 17 with Abraham. Okay, to be even more specific. I guess we can start up at the top. Let me see. Yeah, we can start at the top. Genesis chapter 17, verse 2. And I will make my covenant between me and thee, and will multiply thee exceedingly. And Abram fell on his face, and the Most High talked with him, saying, As for me, behold, my covenant is with thee, and thou shalt be a father of many nations. And he was. All right. Even the scriptures tell you with Adam. All right. Even Adam. The scriptures say we all come from Adam, but there's one chosen royal lineage. There's one chosen line that goes back to being the sons of God. Right. What is that righteous line? Did it go through Cain? Did it go through Tubal Cain? No. All right. You had Adam. All right. Abel was murdered. So you go straight to Seth. All right, then you got Enoch, and all the way so forth and so on, till you get to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But let's continue. It says, As for me, behold, my covenant is with thee, and thou shalt be a father of many nations, which he is. Neither shall thy name any more be called Abram, but thy name shall be Abraham, for a father of many nations have I made thee. Okay. And I will make thee exceedingly fruitful. And I will make nations of thee, and kings shall come out of thee. Okay. And I will establish my covenant between me and thee and thy seed after thee in their generations for an everlasting covenant, to be a power unto thee and to thy seed after thee. What is that seed? We gonna keep reading, find out what that seed is, because we already read that it was dealing with those people that the covenant was given to after the sojourning of Egypt in 430 years, right? Which we're going to further prove that too. Verse 8, it says, And I will give unto thee and to thy seed after thee the land wherein thou art a stranger. Abraham was known as a stranger too. He went to a land that wasn't his. The land wherein thou art a stranger. All right. What do we read about Israel? They were strangers. They sojourned in the land of Egypt, right? The land wherein thou art a stranger, and all the land of Canaan. Who was the land of Canaan promised to? All right. The Israelites. For everlasting possession. Who was the land that Canaan promised to for everlasting possession? The Israelites. Not the Moabites, not the Japhites, not the Ishmaelites. And the land of Canaan for everlasting possession, and I will be their power. Now as we're reading this, remember, you can't disannul this, and you can't add unto it. You can't add unto it. Can't add nobody else into this. Verse 9. And the Most High Yahweh said unto Abraham, Thou shalt keep my covenant before thee. Thou shalt keep my covenant, therefore, thou and thy seed after thee in their generations. This is my covenant which ye shall keep between me and you and thy seed after thee. Every man child among you shall be circumcised. Who is the law? Who is the law of circumcision given to? Let's prove that in the New Testament real quick. Let's go ahead and prove that out of our Lord's mouth. Let's get John the 7th chapter. We'll go back to Genesis. John chapter 7 verse let me see what verse. Let's start at verse 19. This is our Lord speaking. John chapter 7 verse 19. It says, "Did not Moses give you the law?" After their sojourning for 430 years, the Israelites, "Did not Moses give you the law? And yet none of you keepeth the law? Why go ye about to kill me?" The people answered and said, "Thou hast a devil. Who goeth about to kill thee?" Yahushua answered and said unto them, "I have done one work, and ye all marvel. Moses therefore gave unto you circumcision." All right. Oh, the Moabites, the Japhites, the Ammonites, the Edomites, they all was running around uncircumcised. They weren't giving a fuck about circumcision. They didn't give a damn about keeping our ways that was given to us from Yahweh Shemel to Moses down to us. They weren't caring about that. It wasn't until this worldwide spread of Catholicism and Christianity, and the Bible being spread out throughout the four corners of the earth, because the nation of Israel was spread out throughout the four corners of the earth, that you had other nations adopt these customs, all right, and want to be circumcised and want to keep the feast days. But this was never given to y'all. Moses therefore gave unto you circumcision, not because it is of Moses, but of the fathers, and ye on the Sabbath day circumcise a man. All right, so that's the point I wanted there. There's actually another scripture I could get. Where it is at? Philippians. Just to further elaborate on the point of circumcision. That's why you had the whole argument of the circumcision and the uncircumcision. Those were Israelites fighting against Israelites. The circumcised Israelites that were keeping the law, and the uncircumcised Israelites that were learning that they were Israelites and coming back into their heritage, but they were coming out of those heathenistic Gentile ways. This is Philippians the 3rd chapter, start at verse 3. "For we are the circumcision which worship Yahweh in the spirit, and rejoice in Yahweh HaMashiach, and have no confidence in the flesh. Though I might also have confidence in the flesh, if any other man thinketh that he have whereof he might trust in the flesh, I more." All right, so he's letting you know, look, I also am through the faith, I also believe through the spirit, but I also am keeping it in my flesh too, just in case you want it. Verse 5, "Circumcised the 8th day, the stock of Israel, of the tribe of Benjamin, a Hebrew of Hebrews, as touching the law, a Pharisee." That's who the law of circumcision was given to, the stock of Israel. All right, so let's go back to Genesis 17th chapter. So it says, verse 10, "This is my covenant which ye shall keep between me and you and thy seed after thee. Every man child among you shall be circumcised, and ye shall circumcise the flesh of your foreskin, and it shall be a token of the covenant betwixt me and you." So it goes into law of circumcision. And let's drop down. Let's drop down to verse 15. It says, "And the Most High Yahweh said unto Abraham, As for Sarah thy wife, thou shalt not call her name Sarai, but Sarah." Let me read it again. So, "And Yahweh said unto Abraham, As for Sarai thy wife, thou shalt not call her name Sarai, but Sarah shall her name be. And I will bless her and give thee a son also of her. Yea, I will bless her, and she shall be a mother of nations," which she is. "Kings of people shall be of her. Then Abraham fell upon his face and laughed, and said in his heart, Shall a child be born unto him that is in 100 years old? And shall Sarah that is 90 years old bear? And Abraham said unto Yahweh, Oh, that Ishmael might live before thee." So he was thinking, "Oh, my firstborn Ishmael, okay, he's going to be the one blessed." Verse 19, "And Yahweh said, Sarah thy wife shall bear thee a son indeed, and thou shalt call his name Isaac. And I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant." So that everlasting covenant, that everlasting promise, You know, that everlasting promise of receiving the land of Canaan. When we read back up here, receiving the land of Canaan for everlasting possession. It wasn't going to be given through Ishmael. The Lord said, "Nah, Abraham, that ain't who I'm giving it through. I'm giving it to who? Sarah thy wife shall bear thee a son indeed, and thou shalt call his name Isaac, and I will establish my covenant with him for everlasting covenant, and with his seed after him." Now, we don't have to go, don't make us go, maybe go to Jacob and Esau, Isaac's sons, and find out how that worked out. You know who got the promise? Jacob. Alright? So, let's go back to Galatians. Alright? And Christians, until you start answering these questions and breaking them down properly, you on the hot seat. We ain't on the hot seat. Talking about how to identify Israelite. How about how to identify a bugged out ass Christian? Let's see. We're gonna read this verse again and then we're gonna wrap it up. Galatians chapter 3, verse 15. Brethren, I speak, and you know you can go even deeper in on this lesson, deeper in on this video. But you know, I wanted to pull up that word gentile. That's what before I read that verse again, I wanted to pull up that word gentile. Because like I said, it's just a term, it's just a title, it's not a nationality. It can, just like the word gentile can apply to actual heathenistic nations, it can apply to Israelites too. It's just a term, man. Gentiles, a multitude, whether men or beasts associated or living together, a company, troop, swarm, a multitude of individuals of the same nature or genus, right? Genes, a tribe, nation, people, group, right? So it can apply to the Israelites too, man. It says the human family here, but that's what Christianity and Catholicism uses the definition for. But it can also apply to the Israelites, man. And that's where you're having a true breakdown of the scriptures comes in, the understanding comes in. All right. So yeah, man. Let's read verse 15. Wrap this up. Let's read verse 15 again. Wrap this up. Brethren, I speak after the manner of men, though it be but a man's covenant. Yet if it be confirmed, it was confirmed after the sojourning for 430 years in Egypt. Yet if it be confirmed, no man disannulleth or addeth thereunto. You ain't no getting rid of the covenant and making up your own new covenant where all nations are going to inherit the kingdom of Israel. No. Ain't no getting away, ain't no running away, and ain't no adding thereunto. Hopefully this was edifying. Till the next time I say, Shalom.